3 disturbing photos with terrifying backstories, Part 2. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but sometimes those words tell stories that will haunt you forever. In Part 1, we explored 3 photographs that captured moments before unimaginable tragedy. Today, we're back with 3 more images that seem innocent until you learn the truth behind them. These aren't doctored images or urban legends. These are real photographs that documented real horror. Let's dive back into the darkness. The Station nightclub fire, February the 20th, 2003. This photograph shows the inside of the Station nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island, moments after the band Great White began their set. You can see sparks from pyrotechnics showering down on the stage, and the crowd is cheering, thinking it's all part of the show. They have no idea they're witnessing the beginning of one of the deadliest nightclub fires in American history. In less than 90 seconds, this room will be consumed by flames. 100 people will lose their lives, and 230 will be injured. February the 20th, 2003 was supposed to be a normal Thursday night at the Station. The club had a capacity of about 400 people, and it was packed with fans waiting to see Great White, a 1980s rock band trying to recapture past glory. At 11:07 p.m., the band took the stage and their tour manager set off pyrotechnic gerbs, sparkler-like fireworks that shot sparks several feet into the air. What happened next was captured on video by a cameraman named Brian Butler, who was there filming a story about nightclub safety, ironically. The sparks from the pyrotechnics ignited the foam soundproofing material on the walls and ceiling. The foam, which was highly flammable and not fire-rated, caught fire instantly. Within seconds, flames were spreading across the ceiling like liquid. The band stopped playing. Someone yelled "Fire!" but most people in the crowd thought it was part of the act. By the time people realized the danger, it was too late. The fire spread with terrifying speed, creating thick black toxic smoke that filled the club. People rushed for the exits, but the station had a fatal design flaw. The front entrance was also the main exit, and it quickly became jammed with bodies as hundreds of people tried to escape through a single door at the same time. People were crushed, trampled, and trapped. The photograph shows the exact moment the fire started, when it was still small, still controllable, when everyone could have escaped if they had just run. But human psychology doesn't work that way. People hesitate. They look to others for cues. They wait to see if the threat is real. And in those few seconds of hesitation, the fire grew from containable to catastrophic. The video footage that followed this photo is nightmarish. You can hear people screaming, see them piling up at the exits, watch the smoke turning from white to black as the fire consumes everything. The entire building became engulfed in flames in less than 5 minutes. Firefighters arrived to find people still trapped inside, some of them piled on top of each other at the exits, having passed away trying to escape. The final death toll was 100, including Great White's guitarist Ty Longley. Another 230 people suffered injuries, many with severe burns and smoke inhalation. The club owners Daniel and Michael Derderian were charged with involuntary manslaughter. The tour manager who set off the pyrotechnics, Daniel Biacella, pleaded guilty and served time in prison. The survivors and families of victims received settlements totaling over $176 million. This photograph captures the first second of the disaster, when the sparks are still beautiful, still exciting, when no one knows that 100 people in that room have less than 5 minutes left. It's a frozen moment between normalcy and nightmare, between a concert and a catastrophe. The elevator footage of Elisa Lam, January 2013. This isn't a photograph, but a still frame from security camera footage, and it's one of the most unsettling pieces of video ever released to the public. It shows 21-year-old Canadian student Elisa Lam inside an elevator at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, behaving in ways that seem inexplicable. She's pressing multiple buttons, hiding in the corner, making strange hand gestures, and talking to someone who isn't there. This footage was taken on January 31st, 2013. 19 days later, Elisa's body would be found in the hotel's rooftop water tank. Elisa Lam had been traveling alone through California, staying at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, a place with a dark and terrible history. The Cecil had been home to multiple serial killers, including Richard Ramirez the Night Stalker and Jack Unterweger. People had passed away there, violently. The hotel had a reputation for tragedy and despair, and Elisa Lam had walked right into it. On January the 31st, she was last seen alive, and this elevator footage was recorded that day. In the video, Elisa enters the elevator and presses multiple floor buttons. The doors don't close. She then starts acting strangely, stepping in and out of the elevator, pressing herself against the wall, peering around the corner as if hiding from someone. At one point, she appears to be talking or gesturing to someone outside the camera's view, but the hallway appears empty. Then she steps out of the elevator completely and makes bizarre hand movements, almost like she's performing some kind of ritual or arguing with an invisible person. Her body language suggests fear, confusion, or agitation. After about 4 minutes, she walks away, and the elevator doors finally close. That was the last time anyone saw Elisa Lam alive. When she failed to check out of the hotel and her parents couldn't reach her, they reported her missing. Police searched the hotel, found nothing. Days turned into weeks. Then, on February the 19th, guests at the Cecil began complaining about the water. It tasted funny, the pressure was low. Some said the water was coming out black or dark. Maintenance workers went to the roof to check the water tanks. What they found was horrific. Inside one of the large water tanks, floating in the water that hotel guests had been drinking and bathing in for weeks, was Elisa Lam's body. She was found unclothed and her belongings were floating beside her. The tank's hatch had been open. The question that haunted everyone: how did she get in there? The water tanks were on the roof, behind locked doors with alarm systems. The tank itself required a ladder to access, and the hatch was heavy. Elisa was alone, possibly suffering from a bipolar episode as she had stopped taking her medication. But how did she access the roof, climb the tank, remove the heavy lid, get inside and close it behind her? The autopsy ruled her passing an accidental drowning, citing her bipolar disorder and the fact that she wasn't taking her medication. But nothing about the case felt accidental. The elevator footage showed someone in distress, possibly hallucinating or being followed. The logistics of getting into that water tank seemed impossible for a single person, especially someone in Elisa's mental state. Conspiracy theories exploded. Some said she was harmed by someone else. Others claimed paranormal activity or government experimentation. The internet went wild trying to explain the unexplainable, but the official conclusion remained: accidental passing. Elisa Lam climbed into that water tank herself, and she drowned there alone, while hotel guests below used water that contained her body. This still frame from the elevator footage captures the mystery perfectly. What was she looking at? Who was she talking to? Why was she so afraid? We'll never know. Elisa Lam took those answers with her into that dark water tank on the roof of the Cecil Hotel. The Hinterkaifeck farmstead, March 1922. This photograph shows a simple German farmstead called Hinterkaifeck, taken in the early 1920s. It looks peaceful, ordinary, the kind of place where a family might live quiet lives tending to animals and crops. But this farm was the site of one of Germany's most disturbing unsolved cases. On the night of March the 31st, 1922, 6 people were brutally taken from this world on this property, and to this day, no one knows who did it or why. The victims were the Gruber family: Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabriel, and Victoria's 2 young ones, Cecilia and Josef. Also living with them was their new maid, Maria Baumgartner, who had only arrived at the farm that very day. Within hours of her arrival, she would be gone too. But the terror at Hinterkaifeck began days before the incident. Andreas Gruber told neighbors about strange occurrences on the farm. He had found footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the farm, but no footprints leading back out. He heard footsteps in the attic, yet when he searched, he found no one. Keys went missing. Unfamiliar newspapers appeared on the property. He was convinced someone was living on his farm in secret, watching them, waiting. On March 31st, something happened. The details are reconstructed from the crime scene. Someone lured the family members one by one to the barn, where they were struck down with a mattock, a farming tool similar to a pickaxe. Andreas, Cecilia, Victoria and young Cecilia were all taken out in the barn. The attacker then went to the house and ended the lives of the 2 youngest, Joseph and the maid Maria, in their beds. Here's where it gets even more disturbing. The investigation revealed that whoever committed these acts stayed on the farm for several days afterward. They fed the livestock. They ate meals in the kitchen. They lit fires to keep warm. Neighbors saw smoke coming from the chimney and assumed the family was home. In reality, 6 bodies were lying in the barn and house while someone calmly lived among them, performing daily chores as if nothing had happened. The bodies weren't discovered until April 4th, when neighbors noticed that no one from the farm had been seen in days. The police investigation that followed turned up numerous suspects, but no definitive answers. The farm had a dark history. Victoria's husband had been declared deceased in World War I, but there were rumors he might have survived and returned. There were whispers of an inappropriate relationship between Andreas and his daughter Victoria. The previous maid had quit just days before, claiming the farm was haunted. Over 100 people were questioned. Theories ranged from a drifter to a family member to someone with a personal grudge, but no arrests were ever made. The case went cold and remains unsolved to this day, over 100 years later. The Hinterkaifeck farm was eventually torn down, but the mystery of what happened there continues to haunt Germany. This photograph shows the farm as it appeared before the tragedy, a normal homestead where a family lived and worked. But it became a crime scene so bizarre and disturbing that even modern investigators with advanced forensic techniques haven't been able to solve it. 6 people gone, and the person responsible simply vanished, perhaps walking away from that farm and back into society, never to be caught. These 3 images show us that horror often comes without warning. A crowded nightclub seconds before flames consume it. A confused young woman in an elevator days before her body is found in a water tank. A peaceful German farm that became the site of an unsolved tragedy. They're all frozen moments before or after terror, captured on film, preserved forever, as reminders that the unknown can arrive in an instant. If this video disturbed you, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. There are countless more photographs with dark stories waiting to be told, and we'll continue exploring them. Until then, remember, the next time you look at a photograph, wonder about what happened just after the shutter closed. Sometimes the truth is darker than you can imagine.